eating your tacos?
I got a quesadilla. They're fast for tomorrow.
But I'm sure they'll be all ready tomorrow.
So I'm not doing that.
Here? Oh, you can't be logged in here.
Okay.
Lock me out then.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to,
So is that Jason? I think this is Dave.
let me get my thing
Okay,
out.
this has to be the council chambers.
Okay.
I'll go get my computer. Oh. Well, I'm gonna take my mouse too then.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go get my computer. Lance or something.
Over 11,000 steps today. You're slow. I'm supposed to let you in.
Summing up. It doesn't matter. Go to the city website and do the link, then I'll make you a co-host. Okay. And then you can share your screen. How do you get to the city soon? Okay, zoom.com. Just go to Payson, Utah.org. That's what I do on. No.
Can't hear you.
I can hear now.
Can you?
Yeah, I can.
I can hear you, but can you hear the city council? This is Donna Gay.
Oh, Donna, no, I can't. I can only hear your voice. That just came on just now.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Hey, Kim, can you hear me? Um,
Hey, Don, hello.
Now I can hear you. Thank you.
Isn't it wonderful? Technology
turn your
works when it's
speakers off.
not supposed to sometimes.
What it is?
Yeah,
Or-
great. Thank you.
Doesn't work. We ready?
I think so.
Okay. Okay, again, because it's a long agenda, we did not have a city council 2 weeks ago, so that's why it's quite long. We'll go on to B, consent agenda, approval of the March 30th, 2022 special council meeting with work session minutes, approval of the April 6th city council meeting minutes, proclamation, National Police Week, proclamation, Emergency Medical Services Week, proclamation, National Public Works Week. Number 6, authorization for a new trail in the 4-Bay Recreation Area. Number 7, resolution transfer of the 46 kV line system from Strawberry Water Users Association to Southern Utah Valley Power Systems. Unless there's any discussion by the council, I'm ready for a motion to approve this consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion has been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Council Proscott is not with us, so motion does carry. Okay, moving on to C, petitions. Number 1, CTC, Communities That Care, Mayor's Youth Award, Kim Leffler.
Right. Our first one is for Kelsey Argyle. Is she here? Come on up and stand next to the mayor here. So Kelsey is from Payson High School. So Payson High School said, Kelsey is a wonderful person and student. Payson High School is really lucky to have a student like Kelsey attending. Kelsey works really hard in her classes and is a very bright student. She asks great questions and is really engaged in learning. But perhaps even more importantly, she is so kind and respectful to all around her. She often has a smile on her face and is more than willing to serve at any time. She is always willing to help any of her classmates if they are having trouble with their assignments. And then they said, congratulations, Kelsey. She is very deserving of this award. We'll stay here and we'll do our next one. Is Ben here? Ben McKenna? Okay, Ben is from, we only have 2 tonight. Normally we have 3, but Ben is from Mountain Eagle Middle School. And Mountain Eagle Middle School is totally all in on this. They send me wonderful, beautiful write-ups. So Mrs. Jacobson said, Ben has been a student in my class for almost 2 years. He not only picks things up fast, but more importantly to me, he is a silent leader in class. He leads out in his voice section. He leads out in being an example of behavior. He's always kind to others and he is willing to help cheerfully when asked and always steps in when there is a need. He is what my world would call a golden student. I'm pretty sure that's what all of his teachers would agree. And I think they all responded. So he must be fabulous. So Mrs. Miller said, Ben leaves a positive impact on people. He is driven to learn and is not simply to get a grade. He wants to know and understand. Ben can work with anyone, which is quite a skill at his age. Regardless of the group he works in, he strives to elevate them all. He does this by example rather than judgment. He simply does the work well and acts as a resource for those in his group. So I'm going to condense a little bit of it. Mr. Hunt said, well, I've never had him in my class. Wow, you've got somebody who that's pretty impressive. I've never had him in the class. He lives in my neighborhood and I've been impressed with him. He's very responsible and hardworking guy and has a kind heart. He's totally deserving of this award. And from Mr. Evans, I had been last year and I was always so impressed by him. He would always have a smile, always be willing to help another student. Mrs. Baker commented, Ben is a fantastic student. He always works hard and is incredibly insightful. Mrs. Franco said, Ben is responsible and mature in every way. Mrs. Brown said, Ben is a very hard worker, dependable, self-motivated, and determined. So as you can see, Ben is deserving, and so is Kelsey. So congratulations to you both. If parents want to come up to the front and take a picture, you can come up right now.
Okay, because now you gotta stay one more second and just grab my phone. Last one not least, right?
Okay, moving on to action items petitions number 2, Payson Santaquin Area Chamber of Commerce Quarterly Report. Michelle, you're up again.
Evening, Mayor Wright, Council. Thank you for having me. I'll make this really short since you have such a long agenda. We just want to let you know what's been going on since the beginning of the year. We installed 5 new board members in January, and they are on fire and super excited to see some changes in the business community. Some things that we've changed as far as programs, we are now going to be offering the free ribbon cuttings for all new businesses coming in. So that's exciting. We hope to have a wonderful welcome package put together, coordinating with the city and the chamber to offer those new businesses coming in. So that's exciting. We are gearing up for the hometown market, which will start in June. That's done in Santaquin. And as far as events in Payson, we just finished the Easter egg hunt, the scavenger hunt, which went well, but we did have a few missing eggs, which was sad. So we're going to have to rework some things for next year. But we have seen an addition of 6 new businesses join the chamber in the last month. So we are growing. We are up to 150 members now from the 89 that we had when I came on 2 years ago. So we're growing and building the business community, and it's very exciting. So, and we have some new ribbon cuttings coming up this month. We've got Sandwich Queen this Friday, and everyone's invited to attend. I highly encourage you to come down to Sandwich Queen. It's going to be amazing. And then Haven Barbershop on the 13th is having their ribbon cutting. So when they're over by, what is it, Payson Chronicle on Utah Avenue. So
Michelle, Sandwich Queen, would you let everybody know where that's at?
oh, yes, they are located beside Simple Nutrition on Utah Avenue where the dog groomer used to be. They completely tore everything out. It's a cute little place and it's a to-go shop. So you walk up to a window and order from the window. So, and they've got some great sandwiches on the menu, things that we don't have here in Payson already. So, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, we'll move on to number 3. Go ahead and open the public forum. Anyone that would like to address this can speak on items as long as they're not on the agenda. And so we'll please take 3 minutes or less, and we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and open a public forum. Not seeing anyone here in the council chambers coming up to do that. Is there anybody online? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public forum and move on to number 4, staff reports. Any of the staff would like to address us? Come on up, Carl. Carl, appreciate you.
Just a quick update in the recreation department. First of all, thank you for the support and getting water on soon for the new grass, and we're getting that watered and going. We're just ending adult volleyball, co-ed volleyball this week or next week. Adult softball has started. Youth baseball and softball start next week with games. You've seen already, we've had quite a bit of games going on in the last few weeks. Our youth track club, we have 84 kids in the track club competing against other cities with that. And then we're in the process of hiring pool staff. We still have some positions still open, but from maintenance to guards to cashiers. So we're getting ready to open the pool. And again, thank you as well for the budget amendment to replace the water heaters for the showers. And those are all done and installed. So thank you very much.
Carl, thank you for all you do.
Well, 3 minutes or less, he says. Well, I'll make this quick. I just want to let everyone know that Special Olympics torch run is on May 12th at 8 a.m. and we'll be running from 1400 South to the hospital, our leg of the race that'll continue through the state. So we got a law enforcement appreciation next week. I appreciate the council forwarding that proclamation this week. We'll be having a luncheon for our officers on the 17th at 12. So you're all welcome to come by if you'd like to. We'll be doing new hire testing tomorrow. Our last hire elected to go to somewhere else. So we had to retest. So we're doing that tomorrow. I think that's it for me.
Chief Bishop, thank you for all you do. Let your officers know that as well.
Mayor and council, just a quick update in case you've seen all the cones and barrels out on 8 South and all over. UDOT is repaving all of SR 198 from where they left off in Salem clear to Santaquin, and then also 8 South from the interchange up to SR 198. So that's supposed to be done sometime in July. So just so you know, and obviously they're redoing ADA ramps and everything. So just in case you were wondering, that's what's going on with that. So. And we're doing a sewer line in the middle of trying to fit that in before they get in there. So
Thanks, Travis. Dave?
Travis made me forget what I came up for.
Uh-oh.
I just wanted to thank the water department for getting the water on. You all know we have water on now. It's great. The storm was helpful. It's helped our water. We're still a little bit under normal on the Snowtel site, but we're close to 100%. But should be a good, interesting year this year on water. I forgot the other part I was going to come up and say. See, Travis, you made me forget. Anyway, I remember tomorrow morning we have an employee meeting / breakfast. Last Christmas, we had funds to buy the employees a gift. We actually had 2 of them because of the supply chain. It took a while, but we have the second gift now. We're going to give those out tomorrow, and we have some for the council as well. So if you want to come at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to go over a little bit of open enrollment, but we're going to feed the employees and give them their gift, and you're all welcome to come if you'd like to come. 8 o'clock.
Just as a side note for the citizens, one of the challenges that we have of getting water out this time of year is trying to merge what our needs are and the Strawberry water users' ability to get water in the canal system. And so initially we thought it might be the 18th, but as a result of us trying to move things around and also the runoff that we have in the canyon that comes out, we feel like we have enough to keep those reservoirs recharged. And so again, a real good job well done to the staff and providing the water when we need it. So thank you. Okay. We'll move on to council reports. We'll start with Council Hyatt.
I just wanted to thank Wes, of course, he's not here, for the good job that he did at the Arbor Day with those little third graders. I think they had fun time climbing the trees, and that was really nice that he could give them some information. In fact, I learned a little bit from listening to him too. I know the mayor thanks all of our employees, and I realize they're a lot busier than what most people think they are. We could use a lot more employees, but they're taking on the jobs and doing what they have to do. Keep that budget where they have to keep it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, Council Carter.
I don't have much, if anything, sorry. I just want the employees to know how much I appreciate them. I passed by the park several times, a day, and I can always see the workers there getting it cleaned up. And of course, I visit the cemetery real often, and it's looking really good up there also. So I know that they put in a lot of time. I guess I have another wish and that is more pickleball fields, more pickleball courts, not fields. Those are busy a lot. And I don't know if we have signage up there that tells them that they can play for a certain length of time. Do we?
Carl.
If it's busy, the signage says they need to vacate the court for those waiting when their games are done.
Okay.
Limited time, but they should be rotating.
All right, because I've seen a lot of people waiting, and I've stopped and talked to a couple. that they thought a court would be cleared, you know, that quite a while. So maybe that's, yeah, we could do that. But thank you. That's it.
Council Hewlett.
Yeah, just a few things today. One is Paris RV, at least that last I heard, which is about a week ago, and they'd only been open less than a month, it already sold 115 trailers over there. So it's really, really good for Payson. So we're excited about that. There's lots of interest in Payson right now, a lot of inquiries, commercial, retail, and for industrial. So there's a lot of interest in Payson right now. I think we're doing good things, and just to thank the employees of Payson, do a fantastic job, putting in lots of hours. And I know that we're understaffed probably everywhere because of our growth, but just thank you so much.
Council Christensen.
All right. A couple of things as my kids were playing spring soccer, and people had brought it to my attention. I was driving around the fields up there. Need to look at the parking situation. Brad, I don't know who's in charge of that, but the red paint on the curbs to the east of the ball fields is really faded. I don't know if we need to eliminate that and allow for parking or paint them back to red. I can see both sides of it. It's a two-edged sword, that's for sure. The parking would be really nice, but at the same time, when you've got a lot of little kids running around, darting between cars, that's when accidents happen. So need to look at that. On that same note, we might want to stagger our ball games just a little bit differently. I think we had this conversation just so that there's a 10 to 15 minute space where we can vacate that parking lot and bring in the new people, because it seems to be busy up there, which is good. Beautiful, beautiful facilities. I'm glad we got the water turned on for those ball fields. I did not want to burn that grass up before I had a real chance. As well, if we would have known that we had this much power, you turn the irrigation on, water on, it was going to rain for 3 days. We should have done this in January. And then just our beautification committee, just want to make sure that it's still moving forward and getting put together. And I mean, I see places out there, hopefully mine's not one of them, but that just to keep them beautified and cleaned up and things moving forward. And I don't know if that, I'm not trying to say, well, everybody has to have this bright green lawn. It's more eyesore kind of garbage materials that I think as a council, we're more interested in. If you've got a well-mowed pile of weeds, I don't know that that's going to cause you any grief, but just nonetheless. So, okay.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, with that beautification committee, it is moving along. We've had one meeting. We're going to have more. We've had some suggestions about some citizens at large that would be, and I've reached out to one of those citizens, and he's agreed to be part of it. So thank you. We'll move on to number 10, action items. Public hearing resolution, review adoption tentative budget fiscal year 2022 to 2023. Dave and Kathy, we ready?
Mayor, Council, we have a short PowerPoint presentation to go over some of the items of the tentative budget. So under state law, we have to adopt a tentative budget today. And just as a reminder, it is tentative. Once you have the tentative budget adopted, you set a public hearing, and we'll talk about if the council's wanting to do the truth and taxation hearing. That would be August 3rd, I think. But we set a public hearing for August, and then the final budget will be adopted after that. So between now, when the tentative budget is adopted, to August, we will have work sessions. We'll go through different items, and we'll try to nail down and solidify the budget for the next fiscal year. So that's just a reminder of what the tentative budget is. I think is it up then? Why don't you go to the next slide? So just the budget overview, maybe. Okay, so the entire budget with all the assets and everything, it's around $76 million budget. Like we talked about before, the tentative budget will be massaged and worked on until the final budget's adopted by the council. We've gone through with all the departments. We've had a retreat with the council to start it off, and we've met with different departments. The big challenge this year is the sewer department. We're mandated to upgrade the sewer department to deal with the phosphorus and some of the other minerals that the state is making us treat for that goes into Utah Lake. And we've had several meetings with the council. The costs have really skyrocketed. The supply chain is out there. We're in the process right now of finishing the design, and then we are closing on the loan that we received from the state of Utah tomorrow. That's for 14.5 million. The other 40 some odd million is going to have to be on the market, and we can't go out there until the design's finished. So that's one of the things we'll talk about later, but that's going to be one of the challenges in our budget this year. There is a certified tax rate projection. If in the past, the council most of the time has done a truth and taxation hearing the last 5, 6, 7 years. Most of the time, the council has just kept the certified tax rate the same. And so the county lowers that a little bit. So it is a tax increase, but it keeps the certified tax rate the same. In the past, a couple of times, I think we've increased it some, but that's going to be up to the council of how they want to deal with that.
And Dave, didn't last year because of COVID, or was that the CIP?
Yeah, we didn't do a certified tax hearing during COVID, and we didn't raise any of the utility rates during COVID.
Just one real quick note too for the public. The reason, one of the reasons, the very positive reason to do truth and taxation is if we do that, we get a lot better rate on our bonds, which will save us money on that side of it too. So it just it keeps us up to date.
I think it's been helpful over the years just to do very small or keep the certified tax rate the same, and it helps over time. We've had budgeted in market adjustment increase for the employees. It's happening all over the state. It's hard to keep up. I've got a list of what a lot of the other cities are doing. We're probably in the middle of the pack, maybe a little bit under the median, but we've budgeted 6% there. We've tried to give all the departments the request they have for the operational budgets. Yeah.
Sometimes it gets confusing. So by operations, we mean it's personnel costs.
Yeah, you might have to come up.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
There's some confusion with operational costs. When we say that the department heads have received what they request in operational budgets, generally it's supplies, maintenance, and personnel. So anything above that is going to be your capital, and that's kind of where we have to ease budgets in and decide what to give. Okay, we'll just go back and forth, I guess. Yeah. So we just want to let you know that additional funds have been allocated to parking lots this year. This is the first time we've done that, and that's $300,000. And sidewalks, we've added $100,000 to try and get sidewalk projects done. On-call pay was standardized for all eligible employees. And in the past, different departments had different rates for on-call time. And as we looked at it, we decided that while people are sitting at home, they should be paid the same rate. And then when they get called out, they'll get paid their overtime rate at whatever pay they get. Some of the new positions we've added, police patrol, part-time recreation maintenance, increased library pay for some employees. 2 hours were added to the drive-up window coverage, a golf assistant, a fire marshal, an inspector or plans examiner.
Those are what's
Yeah. So our insurance renewal, our general liability was $369,000. It's a $44,000 increase. Workers' comp is $125,644. It actually went down almost $5,000. And employee health insurance increased about 2%. So what we wanted to show you in these slides, and I don't know that you want to go through all the detail, this is kind of a broad overview. We get a whole bunch of requested items. So we wanted to give you an overview of what we have funded and what's still outstanding. You can kind of take a look at it. I don't know that you want to go through all the detail. Just a note, as you look at the vehicle maintenance requests, if it has an L in front of it, that's through the revolving loan fund. So that's an internal fund that we buy and then lease out to the departments. If it's an in and out program, those are items that Anthony has determined that he can do a quick sell on and either meet the cost that he's selling, excuse me, the cost of a new vehicle, or he can exceed it. We're not supposed to exceed, but at least meet the cost of a new vehicle.
Yeah, these are some of the requests that we have funded with the check on it. These are mostly vehicles that we funded, and then below are the ones that have been requested we did not fund this budget year. So you can see that there are requests that we did not fund in the budget this year. And these are, like I say, these are mostly vehicles and equipment.
Okay, now we go on to the projects. So the two top ones are ARPA projects, the capital fund, and this first one is a sewer by the high school, and this is what Travis mentioned that we're trying to hurry and get through. The next one is well 2. It's in pretty bad shape. We want to get that up and running and ready to go. The next B and C ones are involved with overlays and slurry seals and such, and also to build a salt storage building. Development services needed funds to do the Spring Lake area specific plan and some code amendments. The downtown project is the big $8.4 million project. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Facilities, they wanted to do the roofs for the fire library and petite neat, and also carpet in the banquet hall. And that $3,000 is just a rough estimate for a little food cupboard because the one out here is heavily used, but kind of bad shape. The landfill, they need a scale house. Now, further on, you'll see that the scales will be done in conjunction with Kenny Sang, but they needed to build the house itself. In the perpetual care fund, we've budgeted funds for roads to repair the cemetery roads.
We've got some perpetual care funds. We just budgeted a portion of that. We can't do all of the roads in there. It's about a $1.5 million project to do all the roads. We thought we'd start, maybe do the main road and get some of the things taken care of, and then every year try to get some of those roads completed with some curbs so that we can tie it together. It'll really help the cemetery.
Long overdue. So that's great to see that happening.
We're starting small because that's what the budget that we have.
And some of the roads in the cemetery are okay.
Yeah.
But that
main
main one. Ooh.
So in the pool, Carl requested paint for some of the play features for the side columns and refurbish the bridge. You can see in the power, there's numerous projects that they need to get done, including property for the substation, rebuild engines, various projects there.
When you see the CUP there, remember when Central Utah Water came in and put the big pipeline throughout town? They did repair some of our facilities as part of their project, but there were some they couldn't justify putting it as part of the project. So they did replace some of the water, sewer, and other facilities that we have along the way, but we had to pay that back. So we're paying it over 5 years. So you'll look at a CUP payment out of sewer, storm drain, and water. That's part of our repayment back to the Central Utah Water.
Okay, one of the big things the water needs, the water department, excuse me, is new meters. The top one is for new construction. Now, those funds are supposed to come back into the water fund to replenish. Those are supposed to be paid for by contractors. So that there's a replenishment system in that one. Salem City and Payson City Drinking Water Cross Connect. The Spring Lake Pump House, those are from the water bonds. The upsized 4,300 feet of pipe, that 341,000, that's actually what caused us to redo the budget document. So when we get to that, you'll see that we had to redo it to put that one in the project. It's a carryover from this year.
Kathy, just real quick, on the Salem City and Payson City drinking water crossover, that's so that both of the cities, if there's an emergency, we can help them or they can help us. So just a short explanation for that.
And we're trying to do that. Spanish Fork's got one with Salem. We're trying to have one with Salem, one with Redbridge. We're gonna try to do one with Santa Cruz. So all the cities, if there does become an emergency with water, we can help each other out.
Yep.
But it's a good thing.
Very much so.
Excuse
Sorry,
me.
Kathy.
No, great. The last one that we funded is 1,200 foot of 20-inch pipe. That is actually coming out of the impact fees next year. And you can see the rest of the projects we just couldn't find funds for this year. And the departments, we kind of went through this. The top one is to cover window. That's 2 hours per day. A fire marshal, a second golf assistant, part-time librarian benefit. It's an additional 2 hours for a few of their employees so that they can get some management positions to oversee some of the part-time positions. A building inspector, a plans examiner, and then the ballpark maintenance and the patrol officer. Those are the positions we funded this year. And again, there's a lot of positions that were requested. So into the general fund. We're proposing a certified tax rate that remains stable through truth and taxation. Hopefully we can get through. We don't want that to keep dropping, because if we don't keep bumping that and keeping it stable, it is going to drop, and we are eventually going to be kind of in a bad position with that CTR. We'll bring that forward in the final budget. I looked today and there was no data today yet posted. And the county kind of has a philosophy that they're not required to post it until June, so they don't. So
we have to wait and see what the certified tax rate will be before we can give an estimate of how much revenue that would bring the city to keep it the same. I think last year it was somewhere around $80,000 total. It's not a lot of money, but it keeps it
stable.
Yeah, and again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about not about the whole all the property tax, just our very small amount that we get. It's a percentage of that, so it doesn't amount to a great windfall. So,
and again, the new positions, these ones are just in the general fund, and we've talked about in police, fire, part-time recreation, inspector, and increased wages for some positions in the window coverage. If we look at the general fund, it's a $21,369,000 fund. Just a little explanation about the general fund. It's unique in Payson. If you look down to use of final reserves, that line item, that is actually comprises the true general fund. Also, there's other funds, self-balancing accounts that are rolled into the general fund during the audit. So this is the total general fund, only though, even though we only have one fund. Did that make any sense?
Yeah, on this budget, what percent would we be, we have to be within a certain percentage. So where would we be on that? The maximum is like 35.
The max is 35. It's a little bit lower than we anticipated. Yeah, it's kind of low.
15. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the reasons is, of course, we're taking funds out of the fund balance for the downtown and other projects this year.
Yeah, we're using fund balance, so it will roll a bit. These are just some of the line item expenditures out of the general fund, the mayor and council budget, administration, facilities, I don't know if you want to go into detail on some of those, but it just shows the budgets compared to last year, right?
Right. It's every department. One of the things that we haven't identified yet is the COVID related, and I think that we have some projects identified. We just haven't moved forward with them. And these are the other funds that comprise the general fund, the B&C road funds, historic funds, CDBG, Petite Needs, Salmon Supper, and Payson Community Theater. Some water fund highlights. One of the priority projects for the water is fire hydrant repair and broken additional valves. Of course, if we don't keep up with that, we don't get the revenue from it. So that's really important for us. Well, number 2, as I said before, is being funded through the ARPA funds.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a well that has not been updated for probably 40 to 50 years. So it's very much time to do that.
1300 South Nebo Loop Road to Canyon Road. That's financed through impact fees, and that's critical to get water down the canyon.
We've had hands now loose with our contract engineers they have the model that runs our water model. And there's some projects that we have to get done in the next couple of years. And so this one's one of them, the 1300 South, but there's several others that are not budgeted for that we have to get done in the next couple of years as well.
The spring light pumps, these are being funded through the water bonds. We went back to the state to ask if we could finish up a few projects, and this is one of the ones that they allowed us to do. And finally, the 100 South PI project is the one that we just added yesterday. We actually shifted some projects around and added this. This is a new one. So the water fund is a $7.7 million fund. And you can kind of see the detail of that through the revenues and the expenditures. Water impact fees, $1,016,000 is the budget for this. Again, this is part of that big new project. The 100 South project is being funded out of this. Solid waste. Some highlights of the solid waste fund. We added fencing for the landfill. We began that a couple years ago, and we're still trying to get the entire landfill fenced in. Just a reminder, we're not getting gravel royalties because Kenny Sang contributed funds for the ball field and the scales that are coming up. So it's an interlocal agreement with Kenny Sang. And again, there's the upgraded scales. They asked for a link belt. That's quite a big piece of equipment that we added for them. There's one more that we added yesterday. It's a front end loader. Yeah, that was added yesterday also. So the solid waste budget is a $3.6 million budget. And there's the expenditures on the other side there. The electric power plant. They have a lot of projects going on. Some of the highlights, this kind of floors me. So purchased electricity is $8.5 million. So every month we write a check to UAMPS for over $600,000 plus some other places. And that's just a big budget number. And one of the concerns we have with the drought situation is just the ability to keep getting electricity purchased on the market. We added the golf course line for $650,000, property for a substation. And we put away $600,000 each year so that we can get the SESD buyout. They have a $17 million budget. And the impact fees are $777,000. The wastewater sewer plant. This one is the one that's going to be challenging this year because we have the big sewer plant upgrade. We have bonding and equipment pre-purchase, and those will require budget adjustment. What the hope is that we can fund the pre-purchase of the equipment to lock in those prices and try and get those ordered and get the supply chain moving on those. Any rate adjustment that we make to the sewer plant will be brought forward in the final budget. But what we are proposing right now is a two-step approach. The first step is a 35% increase to begin accruing bond coverage funds. And the second step, after we get the final engineering and the bonding costs, then we'll know if we have to raise again and at what amount. When a couple months ago, the bonding agents told us that the market bonds were going for 2%. And they just told us not too long ago that they're over 4%. And that's significant when you look at the debt service on those. So the sewer plant right now is $6.14 million. And there's the expenditures on it. The ambulance, the highlights of the ambulance, they've got a new billing processor that's being able to collect more revenue. So that's doing great. One of their major source of expenditures is, of course, operational expenditures, and they're bringing on the paramedic program. They have a $1,017,000 budget, and the golf fund. So some highlights of the golf fund is this is the second year of the RV park. This year they're getting mow equipment, and they're trying to get into a process to keep that mow equipment so that they can trade it in when it gets a little bit older. They have a golf assistant position. They're still working on the paths, pavilions, and fencing there at the golf course. They have a utility sprayer in there that actually works on the entire city. And we did a budget adjustment not too long ago, but they've been having trouble getting that in. So we're carrying that over. And they have a $1.6 million budget. Storm drain. Just some highlights on that. They're doing one big project on 400 North. That's a highlight. And then they also have some equipment and stuff that they have some internal loans on. Special revenue funds, capital revolving loans, and perpetual care. So special revenue funds are those funds that don't totally support themselves, but we account for them separately, and they're supposed to have a primary source of revenue. The big one in the capital fund, of course, is the $8.4 million downtown project.
And just as a reminder, we did get $5 million from the state. That's most of that. 3.4 is coming from our fund balance.
Yeah, there's our $5 million grant. Yeah, 3.4. That's okay. In our ARPA funds, we received some ARPA funds. We're doing, again, the sewer by the high school and the well number 2. These are out of the capital funds. There's an overview of the special revenue funds in the city, the redevelopment town, the redevelopment business park, the park tax, the impact fee for the parks, and the impact fee for public safety. So the enterprise impact fees are linked right to the funds, and these are just special revenue funds. And here's a capital fund that reflects those big projects, in our revolving loan fund, and our perpetual care with the road project in it. Internal service funds. We have 2 internal service funds, vehicle maintenance and IT. And what we do is we charge all the departments a service fee, an allocated service fee for these funds. And they're totally funded by expenses from all the other funds and departments. Proposed utility rates. Here's a fun one. What we're proposing is a 7% for all utilities except sewer, and also for secondary irrigation. I forgot to put that up there. For sewer rates, we suggest a 2-tiered approach. We would suggest a 35% increase to begin accruing funds to pay for the sewer. And then the next year we'd true that up and try and see what we're actually going to need. Again, pressurized irrigation is not being considered because we've already done a rate increase. And also we don't really have data on what usage will be through the new metering system yet. So it's kind of hard to do an analysis on that.
I guess one thing maybe to clarify on the pressurized irrigation, I don't think it was a rate increase. It was just a rate adjustments for what water they're going to use. So weren't trying to have an increase. So
Right,
just to clarify
exactly.
that.
Excuse me.
We lowered the base rate and then we tried to make it, if you're using the water that should be used to keep your yard, you probably won't see an increase in your rate. That was the hope.
Okay, this is just a note. The projections of the utility rates that we're proposing are based on February 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 22 actual usage. And that's how we kind of came up with what we estimate we'd be generating. So if we did those increases based on what we suggest, it would be about a $22.54 increase on the average resident using the quantity listed. Now that's going to vary according to what each residents use. That's per month, right? And you can see the increase in revenue that would generate citywide a little over 2.7 or about 2.7 million.
One real quick note too on that, on the sewer, we have to be able to show the bond people that we can pay that bond back. And so it looks like, and it is a jump, but we have to be able to do that so that they have faith that we will pay that back. And so we don't have a whole bunch of control over that. It is what it is. So just so you're aware.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
So Mayor, Council, that was just an overview. Like we said, this is a tentative budget. So what we would need from the council is to adopt the resolution of approving the tentative budget and setting a hearing, a budget hearing. And I believe it's on the resolution. It's got the date there. So in the resolution, it should have the date to set the public hearing for the public to weigh in on the budget. And then in the meantime, we will continue to work with the council on the budget.
Okay, in light of that, we'll go ahead and open. I'm ready for a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion that's been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt. Okay, the motion carries. Little
Council
few
Proscar's here.
instructions. Please,
Mayor.
if you have some comments for us, step to the mic, state your name and speak clearly. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, hopefully, and whether you agree or disagree with the previous comments that we've just heard, and please don't repeat old information, and just state some new information that if you have some. So we'll go ahead and open the. Yes. Oh, Bob is great. Bob, you there?
Yeah, I said, yes, I'm here.
Okay. What's your vote on the last motion? Although it's over.
Yes. Nope, you're fine.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. Thanks, Kim. So we'll go ahead and open public hearing. Not seeing anyone here in the council chambers wanting to come. Is there anybody online, Kim? Okay, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Proscard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt, Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, I have a few things to discuss. One is for the public. If you go to the new website that Payson has, it's a great new website. If you go to calendar, you can click on the city council, and it'll give you a whole agenda and everything that's on the city council, everything we look at. And one of the things in there is this tentative budget. And I encourage you just to go read through the first 4 or 5 pages. It's really well written of what we're trying to do and what we've been accomplishing. So I just encourage you to go look at that, and it kind of explains why we're trying to do what we're doing. And it's really well written. I do have a question for Kathy. Is on the park impact fees. You dropped those about $130,000. And I'm just wondering why that might be. I thought we were increasing our park impact fees as we're redoing stuff. So just a quick question on that.
That was just an initial projection. We're going to true those up a little bit with the
Okay.
final budget.
Okay, thank you. And I agree with the truth in taxation. I think that we really need that. It's been very good for the city. We don't come back and ask for 100% increase, 5 years from now. And also the CIP, you see what the inflation rate in Utah is calculated 10%, and we're looking at maybe a 7% cost of impact. So anyway, thank you for all the work on the budget. I know it's really difficult. That's a lot of big numbers and we have a lot more needs than we have money for. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Any other council comment? Okay, if not, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve the tentative budget as outlined tonight.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, roll call vote, starting with Council Proscar.
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yeah.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. I've had a request by staff to amend the agenda. Council, if you would give me that ability.
I'll make a motion that we grant the mayor rights to amend the amendment to his likings.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been seconded. Again, roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt, Council Proscar.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and amend the agenda. Would like to move item E up to this time. Do we need to, looks like I would need to have a motion to adjourn to redevelopment agency.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn to redevelopment agency.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote. Like I lose track. Council Proscar,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, then the carries will adjourn to redevelopment agency. Kathy.
So there's only really two things in the RDAs. We have two major RDAs. One is a town, downtown, and one is the business park, sorry. In the business park RDA, the only thing that comes into that is cell tower revenue. It flows into fund balance. And in the downtown business park, I'm getting them confused now, I'm sorry. Yeah, is the Walgreens contract. So it's actually an economic agreement with Walgreens that we return a portion of their sales and property tax. So that's paid out of that RDA. So those are the only two things in those.
Okay, I'll go ahead and accept a motion as directors to open a public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have 2 seconds. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen. Oh, Director Christensen. Director Hewlett,
Yes.
Director Carter,
Yes.
Director Hyatt,
Yes.
and Director Proscar.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Again, the same instructions, step to the mic and state your name and speak clearly if you would. Try to limit your comments to 3 minutes or less as to whether you agree or disagree with the previous comments. And please state new information. Do not repeat old information. So if you'd like to address us, please do so. Not seeing anyone here wanting to take advantage of nothing online, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Proscar,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
I should say Director. I'm sorry, Director Christensen, the last one I got right. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll close the public hearing. Then we'll go ahead
Need to
and
make a
accept
motion.
a motion.
We did.
Oh, is there any comments from the directors?
I have a question.
Okay.
How much longer do we have on that football green?
Yeah, it's probably about 5 more years. Their agreement was it got to a certain number of years, and they're not going to get to the number, but it'll be the years, but it's probably, it was a 20-year agreement back when they opened. So it's probably 8 more years or so. I don't know the exact date. I'll find it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further comment, I'm ready for a motion from the directors.
I'll make a motion to approve the RDA tentative budget for fiscal year 2022-23.
I'll second that.
Okay, have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote, Director Christensen,
Yes.
Director Hewlett.
Yes.
Director Carter,
Yes.
Director Hyatt,
Yes.
and Director Prosgard.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go back to the original.
We need to get out of the
Oh, that's
RDA.
right. That's right. Okay. I'll accept the motion to get out of the redevelopment agency.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Director Prosgard,
Yes.
Director Hyatt,
Yes.
Director Carter,
Yes.
Director Hewlett,
Yes.
and Director Christensen.
Yes.
Okay,
You're just like an auctioneer, Mayor,
I know.
going right through this stuff.
we're doing that so we don't miss it, right? It's kind of cumbersome to do it all the time, but we're doing that way, Kim, right? Okay. So we are adjourned from redevelopment agency. We'll go back to the original agenda. Going to number 2, public hearing ordinance, a request to extend municipal boundaries for Payson Industrial Park annexation containing 26.77 acres at approximately 700 west and 400 north. Mike.
Were some of these grouped together? Or are we doing these one individually?
Yeah, the ones that are further.
Okay.
in, Yeah. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
This is actually his first time of presenting. He's our new planner.
Yes, I replaced Chris Van Aken, and he left me with a whole bunch of things to present to you. So thank you. So I am going to get this on the screen there, and then we'll be ready to go. So this is the first of several projects we have on the agenda tonight. The Payson Industrial Park annexation. As you can see, that is the area on screen there that is being affected by this. There's the plat map for it. The area is approximately 26.77 acres at approximately 700 west, 400 north. They are asking for an I-1 zoning designation if and when they were to be annexed. Currently, you can see it's used as the tritite kale farming. And they are proposing a variety of industrial uses if they were to be annexed. As you can see, the considerations for approval here, it does match the general plan for the area. Industrial is on the future land use map for this area as well. The applicant has met all the city requirements for annexation. They also had a planning commission meeting on the 13th of April, of which the planning commission gave a positive recommendation for this annexation. I just wanted to point out that staff will work with the applicant on any pending red lines and concerns that city council may have on this. And staff is recommending approval of the annexation request and requesting the zoning designation for the I-1 zone. Any questions on this item?
I don't have any questions, but I just have one quick comment. It's really nice if we can have the minutes of the planning commission so we can see what comments they might have in the packet.
Okay, unless there's no other comments by this time by the council, we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Accept a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we open to public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
and Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go ahead and open a public hearing, same as before. Ladies and gentlemen, step to the mic, state your name, speak clearly, and limit your comments hopefully to 3 minutes. As to whether you agree or disagree with the previous comments we've just heard, please state new information if you have some, and please don't repeat the old information. So we'll go to that point. Again, not seeing anyone wanting to take advantage of the public hearing, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Nothing online. I better check. Nope. Okay, I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion been seconded. Again, roll call vote. Council Prosgaard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
And Council Christensen.
Yes.
Okay, we have the motion.
Mayor,
carried.
I do have one question.
Okay,
Not knowing what they're planning on, I'm sure staff will work with them on, I think we've talked about a road going to the north. I just want to make sure that I go on record stating that we really need to look at getting that traffic down onto the north road, truck lane, whatever you want to call it.
okay, truck lane is to the west of what we're talking about, right? So you're talking about a road that would be to the east of that, that would eventually connect to 9600 south, right?
Yes, yes.
Mike, would you make sure that is on your agenda?
Staff will make sure that that will be addressed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Then I believe the motion did carry. Thanks for that injection, Council Prosgaard. We appreciate it. But we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Any further council discussion? Okay, if there is not any further, I'll accept the motion on the item.
I have a question. So this is down by that church.
Yeah, to the north.
Farther
Farther
because part
north.
of it's already in the city. It's just.
Okay.
Didn't we make a motion? I thought.
Yeah, I need a motion.
Oh. I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
did that.
Oh, we did
We did it,
that.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Just on the item, Linda.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I'll make the motion that we approve the Pace annexation as platted and as staff comments and planning commission approval as my findings.
Change it to I-1 zone.
I think
Excuse
I
me?
put it in staff's findings, right?
Yeah.
Yes, staff findings and planning commission approval.
Okay. We have a motion, need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Again, calls for a roll call vote. Council Christensen.
So I got one quick question, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just, so I understand this, this is final approval for annexation. It's not to study annexation, right? Okay.
Okay. Okay. Starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yeah.
whoops, Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
and Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, you did. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go on to number 3, resolution, adoption of the Mountain Land Pre-Disaster Hazard Mitigation Plan. Robert, you here with, oh, come on up. If you're coming up, come on up. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I always love coming down to Payson, and it's been great working with your staff to get this disaster mitigation plan ready. You want to have one of these because mitigation saves money when a disaster occurs. Also, it makes you eligible for FEMA funds when a disaster occurs. So that's why Mag's been spending all our time working on this.
Yeah, you ought to get this in the book in the library, be one of the bigger books in our library. So
Goodness. That is so true. And I've tried to emphasize the website a little bit. I think it's far more fun to go through the website than flip through 300 plus pages. The website, I'll just point out two parts of it and be done. But we have this lovely risk assessment section with various maps, fire, flood, earthquake, that we looked at with staff, and using these maps and other information that we had about drought and whatnot, we came up with mitigation strategies for Payson. None of these are binding. There's no penalty for not achieving these things, but it's what Payson thought would be the best way forward to address hazards before they occur. And you have a long agenda. So that's all that I have. We have cool maps. We have ideas for the future on an easy to access website. Are there any questions?
Sounds like we'll go ahead. You got one? No? Okay, Shauna, thank you. Just for everyone's knowledge, this is Shauna Meekum from Mountain Lands Association of Governments. Very, very good working relationship with Mountain Land, and very familiar with you when I attend the MAG meetings. And so thank you for the great job that you do.
Thank you.
Okay.
thanks for that short presentation.
Yes, for that
You're
short.
welcome.
It's always welcome. Okay, I've already asked if there's any discussion. Doesn't sound like there is. So I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the adoption of the Mountain Land Pre-Disaster Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Roll call vote. Council Christensen.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Carter.
Yes.
Council Hyatt. And Council Proscard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to resolution, Staley Payson addition annexation petition for consideration of acceptance and further review at 675 Goose Nest Drive, consisting of 24.6 acres. Mike, not Mike.
Surprise.
Robert. And I understand these next three are.
Yeah, so if you want to read all three in.
Okay.
Do that.
Wonderful. Okay, number 5, resolution. Can't pronounce that name. What's?
Lunaria.
Lunaria. Okay, Lunaria annexation petition for consideration and acceptance and further review at 100 South, 1550 East, consisting of 5.1 acres. Number 6, resolution, Barberry Hills annexation petition for consideration of acceptance and further review at 2024 West, 10300 South, consisting of 10.26 acres. Okay.
Perfect.
Enlighten us.
So what I want to do really quickly though is a few weeks ago, we had a discussion about annexation in general. And as part of that annexation discussion, we had talked about some criteria that you wanted to have as you think about reviewing these and think about considering these. So just to clarify, these 3 items are just for consideration. We're not acting on the annexation. It's just whether you want to direct staff to consider these annexations. So I listened as well as I could, went back and listened some more. And so these are just some things that I wanted to present to you, make sure I'm on the right track before we go to these other items. So what I heard from that meeting was that the criteria that you would like, each annexation has to be a minimum of 10 acres. All infrastructure costs are going to be borne by the applicant at the time of annexation, or whatever it's going to take for the infrastructure to be upgraded will be borne by the applicant. The third one is related to power. This was a really interesting discussion. We have some interesting relationships with SESD, and basically the requirements were going to be put upon the applicant to make sure that power is available, and it's going to be provided by Provo Power, excuse me, Payson Power. That was
Easy, buddy.
Well, we can, I mean, you can ask them, but they'll probably say no.
He came from Provo, so that's the explanation.
Certain things I'm just trying to my head for a long time. But as part of that, the applicant would have to coordinate with SESD and provide documentation to us that we're going to be able to service them, and any transfer of facilities and things like that would be at the expense of the applicant. Engineering and subdivision plans necessary to support a requested zoning designation would be part of the annexation application. So what we heard from that activity that we had was that the council would desire to actually designate zoning at the time of annexation. In order to do that, we're going to need some more documentation to make sure that the areas that are proposed for annexation are able to be serviced and that it's going to lay out well. So as a kind of a part of that, the council had expressed the desire that there be some language in there or some just understanding that the applicants would be required to have development permits submitted within a certain time frame. That wasn't ever discussed, and so I was very conservative and said 5 years. That some sort of development permits would have to be going through the process. Otherwise, that zoning designation would revert to A5H. Additionally, the applicants would have to ensure that utilities would be currently available to service the area proposed for the annexation, or they could be upgraded and easily tied into our existing system. Another consideration was that a specific plan would be available and in place for the area of annexation. And then as a final note, that as part of this, the applicant would need to provide some sort of an explanation of why the annexation is taking place and what benefits the proposed annexation would provide to Payson, whether it's economic, natural resources, connectivity, other services, and things like that. Just wanted to get your feedback and see if I got that right, somewhat right, or what I should be changing.
I have one comment on the
Sure.
specific area plan. I see how that might be important, but just the one we just did, they're not in an area specific plan. So,
right. And I should mention that the other thing that we talked about was creating a weighted score. And so maybe that's not a really weighty item in these criteria, or maybe it's not something that we need to consider at all. So.
Those kind of things we can do as we give you permission to study it.
Yeah, as we continue to go along, we can work through this list, but just wanted to get some feedback before you do these two or these three.
Robert, I've got a couple feedback if I could.
Yes.
The minimum of 10 acres I really like, but we probably should have some kind of verbiage in there that says a smaller acreage would be considered if it completes a project of something that's already proposed, or meaning it's needed to complete something else. Does that, am I conveying that right?
Yes, I think that's a good comment. And again, these are just general guidelines and things like that. You can, but I think that's a good comment, that if it makes sense and it's a smaller one, then absolutely.
Give us some flexibility for it.
I think, like you said, the weighting program, create a rubric that says, hey, you have to reach 80 points. Each one of these is a certain amount of points. And if you're not there, then you probably really aren't ready to be considered.
Yeah, then maybe it's not a timely request.
Right.
That,
So
that doesn't mean that it might be in the
but
future.
all the other things meet, then I still think we should consider it. That's not something that would be done. This isn't set in stone, but I like the idea of a weighted rubric.
Okay.
I'm a teacher, sorry.
And we can wait, and we can work on that with you to come up with that. Any other comments?
Yeah, the other comment I had is when you said you was very conservative on a 5-year development plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they're going to go to the effort of everything that we're asking for them up above, I think they're ready to be annexed, or I think they're ready to move on a project. I would strongly consider 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Of moving forward. Just my comment. As a developer, I don't know anybody that would want to be annexed and taken out of the green belt or whatever zone they may be in the county and start paying taxes and not have a plan ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's good feedback. And I'll just interject and say, you know, whenever we annex property, then Payson City becomes solely responsible for that. Right now, when there's county property and like we respond either with fire or things like that, there's an agreement that we share costs and we get reimbursed in some of those efforts. Once we annex, with that opportunity goes away. So
I like it. Great work. Great work.
Okay, well, that was just my quick little introduction, and I'll turn it back over to Mike now.
Okay, I believe we're at the point that we've had the council discussion on this. I'm ready for a motion. We'll do.
No.
This is just an introduction.
Oh, okay, go, sorry.
That was FYI to consider
Okay,
what's coming up.
enlighten us more.
So tonight we have 3 annexation requests. This is not any decision to be made. It's just a request to be considered for the future. So as you can see, we have the Staley Payson addition, approximately 24.6 acres at approximately 675 South or 675 Goose Nest Drive. The Lunaria annexation request, approximately 5.18 acres at approximately 100 South, 1550 East. And Barberry Hills annexation request of 10.26 acres at approximately 100 South and 1600 East. Giving a little more detail on those. This is the Staley Payson annexation. You can see it's kind of a aerial view of where that area is. You can see the requested zones that they're asking for, the R1A and the A5H. Next is the Lunaria annexation request. No zoning designation was requested with this one. And I'll point out the Barberry Hills. You can see that looks fairly familiar. That's because these properties are adjacent to each other. And so the Barberry Hills is requesting an R1 7500. So those are the 3 annexation requests. Considerations for approval. Staff is recommending accepting the annexation request for the Staley Payson addition. And staff is recommending denying the Lunaria based on the fact that Public Works has stated there's no way for utilities to properly be serviced in that area. Same for the Barberry Hills. Staff is recommending denying that one for the same reasons. Say that again, I'm sorry.
How far out past the house?
Yeah, how far out, like from another community or another?
I don't know if I've got an immediate aerial view. Let's see.
I think I'd like a clarification on I believe it's the sewer utility that's not able to be addressed at this time. Is that correct? Am I assuming that correctly?
That is what I understand. Is that correct, Robert?
Yes. So, and Travis is here, so I'm going to throw him under the bus. Just getting him ready. So our recommendation is based on the fact that for the Barberry Hills annexation, which is, it's actually adjacent to city owned, or excuse me, within the city property already, city boundary already. The problem is that all of this sewer would be flowing into a lift station that's currently in litigation. And we cannot increase our flow into that until the litigation of that sewer lift station is resolved. And so our recommendation is that rather than bring this in with no understanding of what's going to be happening and just let the applicant be constantly in limbo, it would be better, because this seems untimely, that we just say not right now, but when all of that is resolved, please submit an application to us.
Yeah, and that's the lift station behind the county.
That's
health
correct.
Department.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I get that right, Travis? Okay.
Okay, well, we've got you here though. Does the R1 7500 zone coincide with what the east side comprehensive plan stated, or?
It's relatively close.
So
I
not,
like I like it though. I like an R175. That's one single family home per 7,500 feet. That's a 75 minimum frontage by 100 feet deep minimum.
That's correct.
okay. I don't,
That is a good one.
we all think on acreage size, and that's where I get confused because that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So is that a third
7,500
acre?
square feet.
Or
No,
is it a
that's
quarter?
smaller than a third acre. That's smaller than a quarter. But well, just under a quarter acre. Okay. But yeah, so our basic recommendation is the Staley one can connect and be serviced. They'll obviously go through the process of review, and then we'll come back to you. But at this time, for the Lunaria one and for the Barbary Hills one, we just think it's unfair to the applicant to go through that process at this time.
Using the court vernacular, it's without prejudice. We are willing to listen to it on another time.
Absolutely.
How long is their application good for? So they don't have to go get all the signatures and do all it again? Can it be put on hold, or do they have to start completely over?
Well, if you say no, then it's a start over.
Okay.
Okay.
So did they pay for that? I mean, what did they pay to do that far?
Kim, do you know what the cost is at this county?
It's about $100.
Ours is 300, I think.
But the fact is, we just cannot service it with the existing lift station,
Yeah,
right?
given the litigation of the situation, we can't allow that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Litigation.
Okay.
The litigation is the developer or the landowner in that area who built the lift station for us, because the Army Corps of Engineers has designated that area as a wetland and has designated us as being in violation, or the building of that lift station as a violation of the wetland. So in order to, there's been some discussion about we can accept it and pay a penalty with it, or this landowner and his attorney are willing to fight essentially for us in that. They've just asked us that we cannot connect anybody in or try to alter that. We can have whoever's on it currently and leave it at that. That's all we can do at this time.
I think it would, I think we'd, somebody would encourage Barbary and Lunaria to maybe help the developer in moving that forward so that they can be considered.
Yeah, and we're currently, we've asked some of our elected officials back in Washington to see if we can elicit their help too. So we're working towards that end.
Perfect.
So I have a question on the Staley property. There's one for part of it for the holding zone, I think, and one for 1 acre lots. Is that right? And do you know how many what do they have plans for that? Why do they want to be annexed?
I'd have to go back to the reports on that. I didn't put that in here. I would have to follow up with you on that without digging for it at this moment, but.
And again, this is just to study the feasibility, right? This is just.
Say that again, Mayor.
This is just to study the feasibility. It was
This
not
is just
guaranteeing it.
the approval to start the annexation process.
Brian, to answer your question, I think the Staleys are looking, they have some family members that want to build there. I think it's for their family.
Yeah.
That's why they're asking.
Just on the east side of the Goose Nest Road.
Yeah. Comments back there.
Yeah.
We're the Staleys. It's essentially so that myself and my two brothers could eventually build.
Kim, do you need them to come up and, oh, they're okay? Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So what we would be asking is for a motion on those 3 items individually.
Okay, we can handle that.
Can I ask a question?
why is the Lunaria and Barbary not one annexation if they're adjacent to each other? Because they file separately and. Okay, so they did file them separately. When we see this again, it will be one.
Okay.
Are any of them here?
The applicant is online. so
He's
if you have
online.
questions.
I don't know that I have questions. I hate to kick the can down the road, but I think it is important to make sure that we have that litigation taken care of so that they're not sitting in limbo waiting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it takes them 2 years to get plat maps and everything organized and everything, if we wait a year for the litigation to resolve, then they're a year behind schedule and I don't know. That's just my thought process on it.
Okay.
That if they can run concurrent and they know that that's where they're at, what do they want to sit in limbo at that point in time, or does that make sense to anybody but me?
Okay. I think with, yeah.
He's been working on it for a couple years already.
My understanding is the litigation has been going on for at least a year now. I know the issue had been brought up at least 2 or 3 years ago, but the litigation was started about a year ago.
Okay, I'm guessing, I think we pretty much discussed it to the point where we can entertain a motion on each one of these. We'll entertain the motion on number 4. If you would make that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Staley Payson addition annexation petition for consideration and further review on 675 Gooseness Drive.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Prosgaard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries in the positive. Number 5, resolution. I'll accept a motion.
Mayor, I'd make the motion that we deny further study on the Lunaria annexation request pending the resolve of, my findings are pending the resolve of the sewer litigation that is currently going on that would ultimately sewer that property.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a couple seconds. Okay, a motion and has been seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
and Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Mayor, I'd make a motion for the same verbiage that I just used for the Barbary Hills annexation request.
Okay, have a
That we
motion.
deny.
Okay, to not deny.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and a second, roll call vote, starting with Council Prosgaard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Yes.
Motion carries. And again, I would reiterate that we'd be more than happy to consider it when that case has been resolved. Okay, we'll move on to number 7. I understand 7 and 8 are also combined. Mike, go ahead and present it to, it's a request for the use of the IO infill overlay to allow infill development associated with the Maple subdivision located at 1349 South and 780 West. Would you like me to detail the number 8 at the same time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Number 8, preliminary plan, final plat approval of the Maple subdivision at 1349 South, 780 West. Mike?
So as you can see here, this is the property being discussed from the county parcel maps.
Is this a lot that had the house burned down?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, this is the plat map. As you can see,
The request is to divide it into 2 lots. Currently, right now, what they want to do is the 2-lot subdivision, single-family homes on each. They need the infill overlay to actually do this because the lot sizes would be under the zoning designation for that area.
What is it right now?
The lot is currently 0.43 acres, and so they would be approximately 0.2 or 0.21 acres each.
And what is it supposed to be in that area?
It is the R19, so that was 9,000.
What is the current zoning around it?
The current zoning is R19.
Then it would be fine.
Yep. Yep. Be a good addition.
Perfect.
So it meets the general plan and the underlying zone requirements. It meets the minimum requirements for the infill overlay. And staff will work with the applicant on any pending red lines and whatnot. And staff is recommending approval for the infill overlay designation and the subdivision preliminary and final plats. Correct.
And all the setbacks will still maintain. It is a corner lot, just make sure that they're not crowding in on those setbacks. I don't have a problem with it.
I think it'll be fine.
Be nice to have it, not a vacant building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, any further discussion, council, on both items? Not seeing any, I'll accept a motion on the first, number 7. The Maple subdivision, I'll accept a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the IO infill overlay for 1349 South, 780 West.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, roll call, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Proscard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. I'll accept a motion on number 8, preliminary plat and final plat approval for the Maple subdivision, essentially the same address, 1349 South, 780 West.
I'll make a motion. We approve the preliminary and final plat approval for the Maple subdivision at 1349 South, 780 West.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Council Proscard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why did this come to us? It's only a 2-lot subdivision. Shouldn't it have gone to planning and zoning? Is it the overlay that requires?
It needs the
Because of the
overlay,
overlay.
yes.
Well, we might as well do them both if we're gonna do the one.
That's right. Okay, moving on to number 9. Ordinance - Redford Investment Zone Change, 8 parcels at 900 North Main from specific highway service zone to light industrial zone. You're up again, Mike.
So here's the parcels that, the 8 parcels that the mayor just mentioned. You can see from the county parcel map. So it's approximately there at 900 North Main. It's currently zoned the S1 zone, Special Highway Service Zone. They are asking for the I1 zoning designation, which is that light industrial. As it says there, parcels are irregular and will be reconfigured at a later date. This current request is just for the zone change. As you can see, it matches the general plan for this area. Industrial is on the future land use map for this area. The applicant has met all the city requirements for approval. And since this is a legislative action, that's why it's here today. Staff will work with the applicant pending any red lines. Planning Commission had their hearing, had their hearing on this on the 13th of April. And they recommended the zone change to happen. And staff as well recommends that zone change to happen, but also to work with UDOT regarding any proposed layout of that north interchange road in that vicinity.
Okay, prior to any council discussion, I know some of the possibilities for that location. I think it's very, very positive.
I like it.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we approve.
Can I ask a quick question first?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
What is the S1 zone? What does that entail? I know it's the service zone, but what's in the highway zone? What's
Gas stations, tire shops.
Very good. Yeah, so
There's a lot more than that.
you've got various highway related businesses that would be in that zone without going to the whole appendix and reading them to you, but the nature of that zone was things that you would typically see alongside the highway, gas stations, hotels, restaurants, things like that.
Council Postcard, are you ready to go?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I would make a motion that we approve the Redford investment zone change for 8 parcels located at approximately 900 North Main Street from S1 specific highway zone to light industrial zone. And I use my findings as it wonderfully meets our general plan. Staff recommends and planning and zoning recommends approval.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, starting with Council Postcard,
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
I'm going to recuse myself because one of the investors in this property I have a lot of dealings with. He actually manages one of my LLCs, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Thank you for that information. Council Christensen,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to number 10, ordinance amendment to the general plan, South Meadows area specific plan regarding Hyatt Creek subdivision plat C. Again, Mike.
So this is the area in question. Amendment 1 has already happened. So Amendment 2 is just that smaller area in that kind of cloudy bubbled area below Amendment 1, if you can see that there. I think it's only 5-6 acres that they're requesting this change for. The density, what they're requesting is a density change from 3 units per acre to a 6 units per acre on the western side of this parcel. And then it would allow a multifamily zoning designation that caps at 6 units per acre. And with this, that there would be future applications that they would be requesting with this zone change, or is this general plan change. Again, that's what's being requested, is the 3 units, from the 3 units per acre to 6 units per acre. One comment from staff is noted here. This is from Public Works staff. Travis is gone, but basically, oh, there he is. Travis, did you want to talk at all about this comment? This is actually from Jonathan, but did you want to talk to the comment here?
I think he's commented on it. I think it deals with the fact that it increases the density and questionable as to whether or not the sewer capacity will allow it where we have the bottleneck. But I think we've got it in the works to try to fix it.
Yep.
And it was a request from council to make this adjustment to go to the 6. And I think that Whitehorse has been very adamantly they've worked really well with us to try to meet these. I know that it's an issue and I'm hoping we can resolve that, but there's a lot of development out that way. And I see Travis getting nervous, but I don't know if there's any real way around it, but that's kind of where we're at.
Since you're so close, Travis.
Do you give a thumbs up to my comments? Is that where we were?
Yes.
The only question is if we keep allowing higher density on every parcel, it makes it really hard for us to plan ahead, because I don't know what to model for. So we either have to pick a number that we're comfortable with and remodel the whole area and make sure the utilities will work for that. And so then if somebody doesn't exceed that number, then we're all comfortable with it. But when we did the master plans, they were obviously modeled for the densities that were in, the general plan and that. And if we go above those, then yeah, we can do it for a couple properties. But then if we keep doing it, you're going to basically either steal density out of somebody else's development, or you're going to have to upsize utilities that we didn't plan on.
So I guess
that's
the bottom
only-
line is, are you comfortable with this?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
handle this. It's
Okay.
just And we've had it studied, so they've been patient with that. So I don't think I just wanted to get that out that if we do that continually, it will cause us some
Well, I
headaches.
don't think, because, I mean, we told them last year what we wanted.
Yeah.
And so they kind of went and did their thing to get it what we asked for. Was that before the general plan came out?
It was after the general plan, because this is where the confusion came in, but it's adjacent to higher density property. It's a little bit better transition. It had high density east of it, but was low density to the west between the high density and the railroad tracks. And so we kind of flip-flop things a little bit. So it does meet the area a little bit better as we've gone into it and looked a little closer.
Okay.
I know this is a bug on the grill, but at some point, we probably ought to have the discussion that Travis keeps bringing up, that things are moving to the south faster than we anticipated in that area. And so at some point, we probably need to start addressing future sewer that, you know, we were all comfortable thinking might be 10 or 12 years out. I think it's coming a lot quicker than we anticipate, guys, as we go farther south and increase even single family, we're maxing the sewer again. So I think it's a discussion we should have down the road fairly sooner than later.
And I think White Horse, you're aware of that. They own 60 something acres that's still south of this property, and I think they're well aware of that. And hopefully we're all working well together to make that happen, right? So I'm getting a head nod out of that. By the way, Bob, you're not seeing that, but yeah.
I think
affirmative.
I know that they are, but I believe that 60 acres, I think, was already figured in the general plan, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, good. It's a good discussion to have, and I'm sure we'll continue to do that. Okay, any further discussion on number 10, the ordinance amendment to the general plan? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the amendment to the general plan of the South Meadows area specific plan, going from 3 units per acre to 6 units per acre on the area that we viewed this evening.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Council Carter.
Yes.
Councilor Hewlett.
Yes.
And Councilor Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. And that's my understanding that 11 through 16 are all somewhat connected. So do you want me to read all of them?
Yes,
At the same
please.
time? Okay.
Yes.
Number 11, ordinance amendments to the general plan, South Meadows area specific plan regarding Redbridge Villages development. Number 12, ordinance amendments to Title 19 zoning. Number 13, preliminary plan and final plat approval of the Redbridge Station Super Pads subdivision at 800 South and 1700 West. Number 14, ordinance Redbridge number 1 zone change for a portion of parcel 29-012-0024 from A-5-H annexation holding zone to RMF-15 residential multifamily zone. Number 15, ordinance Redbridge number 2 zone change for a portion of parcel 29-012-0024 from A-5-H annexation holding zone to S1 special highway service zone. And number 16, Redbridge Station overlay request for multi-use of the MU-1 mixed use overlay for 105 acres at 800 South, 1700 West.
This is baptism by fire, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, it is.
You better believe it. I think the majority of you are aware of the Redbridge project location, but here's an aerial of that. So as the mayor stated, these are the various items for discussion tonight. The 800 South and 1700 West, the mixed-use pedestrian-oriented development, super pad subdivisions on 77.23 acres, which would have the mix of commercial and residential uses, and the super pad subdivision will allow for more focused development on pieces of land dedicated to specific uses. And then as stated there, there's several things being considered today, but they're all intended to allow Redbridge Station development to move forward. Those are our items. A little bit of history there for you. I don't know that we need to go over the history, but there it is. So amendments to Title 19, changes to the MU1 overlay. These are the changes that are being requested, as you can see bulleted there. Allowable land uses requested to be added include accessory buildings in support of public infrastructure or community amenities, drive-up service windows, e-bike, scooter, etc., rental and sales, pool maintenance rooms and restrooms, dumpster enclosures, change lot width requirements from 150 feet to 80 feet, allow buildings up to 5 stories tall. Currently, the limit is 4. Increase interior height limit from 48 feet to 58 feet. Deliveries allowed to small street facing shops. Change overlay approval validity from 1 year to 3 years with possibility to extend in 12 months increments. Master plan owner alliance to allow shared allocation of open space amenities. And one other one that I didn't put in the slide, but it was discussed both in work sessions and with the planning commission, was to have the several sections of the property is requested to have an 80% or 85% of coverage on the property. Council can approve up to 90% coverage in this zone, and they're asking for an 85%. The applicant is here and they could address what parcels they're considering for that 85% if you want to hear that. I think 80.
I didn't know if it was 60 to 85.
Yeah, but 80 to 85, not bad.
So I don't know
Would
if
the council like to hear from the
applicant.
Any interest? If you don't,
I'm sorry.
The findings of planning and zoning.
We have that at the end of all of these.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
want to hear any comments from the applicant, this would be the time.
It worries me a little bit to go 5 stories. Okay, then we'll
Okay,
wait.
Then we'll wait and see if we want to have. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
The South Meadows plan amendments, increase overall unit count. You can see the various scenarios that were discussed there over the years. 2016 had 664, 2021 was 1125, and the proposed amendment is for 1240, so 1240 units. And this would be an up to number. It still would be a legislative change. And it still would have to meet city code. Other factors to be considered in amendments, results of 800 South alignment study. That's the UDOT overpass there.
These are because of that. They lost some ground.
Trail corridors, land use delineations, et cetera, are also affected by the road alignment and will need to be changed. This is the next agenda item. So that amendment area you can see there outlined in black. And this is the second amendment item, and it's just the area you can see near the arrow. And did that disappear? I believe I had another map, but it's not there. I don't know what happened to the other map.
There were two maps there.
So that's two. But there,
Basically showing where the new alignment for 8 South is going to go and adjustment to add 850 South.
yeah, you can see the dotted gray line. The thick dotted gray line is the potential road realignment there.
That's the 8 South that we've approved, or at least we accepted the study and liked on 8 South, correct?
Yes.
Still enough space between the 8 South? Is there still enough space between 8 South and the railroad tracks to put a front runner station?
No, they,
It's too tight. Okay.
Bus rapid transit type thing, but
Okay, continuing on with the next. You can see that this is the various amendments that have occurred. Amendment number 1 was prior. This for this request, it's amendment number 2. You can see the 1,240 units. This is kind of a breakdown of the number of bedrooms per unit. You can see the 1-bedroom, the 2-bedroom units, 3-bedroom, and the grand total of those units. So the zone changes here, partially requesting RMF 15 and partially S1. You can see on there those requests, RMF 15 and S1. The area change to S1 will open the door for the mixed use overlay. And the wetland area is proposed to be part of the RMF 15 zone. And these are separate applications, but it is the same parcel area. This was the map I thought I was going to. So as you can see, this for the mixed use overlay, and so totally different item, sorry. But this mixed use overlay can be applied only in the S1 zone. It's still a legislative approval. The overlay history was that it was I don't know what TS stands for, but it's transit station overlay, I believe. If approved, developments within the overlay will need to satisfy all requirements of the ordinance. That will be reviewed when applicants submit preliminary and final development plans within this overlay. So changing from that TSO to the mixed use. Next, super pads subdivision. So there'd be 16 separate lots. This enables the project to move forward incrementally rather than all at once. The super pad delineation will guide phases in which development is built out. It clearly defines development costs for PID versus development costs. Defines transportation network, including 800 South corridor preservation. Allows parcels to change ownership, including parcels that will be dedicated to MTech. So this is the first, hopefully you can see that okay. This is the first of the super pads. You can see the various different identified pads. The second, you can see the other pads, and the wetland kind of makes that almost claw looking shape in between the 3 of those there. And then the other one up there. So with that being said, all of those items, these are the recommendations by staff for each of those items on the agenda. Staff is recommending approval for Title 19 amendments, for the South Meadows Plan amendment, the 2 zone changes, the mixed use overlay, and the super pads preliminary and final plat of subdivision, provided that applicant will work with staff on any final plat review comments by staff.
Are those super pads, are they done in order? Because I noticed that the wetland was number 8, and that's not going to be a high priority for anybody to do. And 8 seemed like a good spot to land to do trail systems and development in that, because I'm assuming that's what it will be, is open green space, right?
Number 8 is right here.
Okay, then what was it? Go back to the other picture then. Oh, that's a B.
Good thing you teach
Downhill after
woodshop.
40. It doesn't help me. I'm sorry. It does look like an 8. Give me a little credit.
Good thing you teach woodshop.
I can still read a tape measure. There's no numbers on a good one.
Well, I know, but there's no B on a tape measure that I know of.
So what is the plan for parcel B? There are trails and stuff in there? So part of the development that will happen? Okay, that's just my concern, is that it sometimes will fall and get pushed away and saved till the very end. And I don't like to see that. When we start to get the population down there, we need those kind of things. So
One thing that might help with that, maybe we could, have, if they don't plan on doing that right at the beginning, is to have a bond for the trails or something, so we know that they're gonna be done. So that might be
Totally
something
agree.
to do. You are
Yeah,
bond for the trails, okay?
Brian,
Okay.
could we go?
Right.
Brian, did you catch that ownership of the lots could be transferred, including the MTech?
Yeah, and I think that's the question I was gonna ask is, you have to do this lot so you can transfer to MTech. Is that, because that's why it hasn't been transferred? As soon as this gets done, then you'll immediately transfer that over to MTech. Is that correct? Okay.
okay, and then the only other question I had is down there at the base of that, there's a road on the south side of this project. Is that the existing road? Or is that a new road in its entirety that falls behind those existing homes that are there? Okay. Okay. Okay, so you develop that at least. Yeah. Right. Well, it just seemed like lot 16. Is that a 16 or is that an IO?
That's a 16.
Thanks. So lot 16, it had a lot of density on it, and I just want to make sure that and it only has that one form of egress, which makes me just a touch nervous. Because it is kind of down in wetlands, possible floodplain areas and things like that. But that is a big enough road that it can handle that to get them out of there.
She step to the speaker so we can hear you, Sheila.
All right, yes, it will be.
Okay. All right. And I know these aren't final plats. It'd be nice if we could cut an emergency egress out across that parcel B, but it's not going to work. So we stay away from that at all costs. And I understand that.
I have a question going from 48 to 54 feet. I mean, that 48 is tall. You go out there up there, it's tall. And if we start giving all these little, are we just gonna change it for everybody?
So is that 48 is the peak of 4-story, the 3 stories, or what was it, 4 to 5? So 48 is 4 stories, and they're going to squeak a 5th story in that 6 feet. Is that what we're talking about? So it's,
No, let me have Jerry
Come on
come
up,
up
Jerry.
and talk about that.
what does interior height mean then?
What are we out on the east of the hospital with those buildings, Brett? Those 5-story?
They're 4-story.
4 stories.
We only have 4-story. I don't know if we have a ladder truck to handle 5 stories as part of our concern too, but fire has cleared this.
Let me comment on the height. When the road was cut through the middle, through the heart of our project, my first reaction was to roll over and give up, because it cuts so deeply into everything we did. We just trashed everything from the middle north and started over. We lost a big area, but not only that, it added to complexity. I have images I can show you if you'd like, but I'll just try it verbally. It added to complexity. It made rectangular lots turn into funny little curved lots. It reduced our efficiency radically. It meant that some of our commercial areas were quite shallow. In fact, I think somebody on the council mentioned that they were shallow. So we had to shift our road back in order to make the commercial work. Prior to that, our new road was within 10 feet of the UDOT road. You can't get commercial in 10 feet. So we had to shift our entire road over to the south. And we couldn't shift where we had the mixed use buildings. South of that was MTech, and we couldn't take any land out of MTech. So we're squeezed by the UDOT road on the north, our MTech commitment on the south. And it's much like squeezing a balloon. When you squeeze a balloon at one point, it gets bigger at another point. So the only way to make the whole thing work and to have enough units for the commercial to be viable is to go up another story. Partly because when they put the UDOT road in there, they cut off our traffic. How do you have retail with no traffic? Think of 8 South where Walmart is. Take all the traffic off that street except for local traffic. It's really tough to get commercial to work when you only have local traffic. And our traffic is the students at UDOT or at MTech. They probably aren't very deep pocketed. So where do we get traffic? Well, we have to build it in that area. So in order to get the number of units to balance the commercial and to get the space to build the commercial, we had to squeeze the balloon and go up another story. Otherwise, we couldn't make the commercial work, either physically or economically.
And this will be by the structure, right? By the road itself.
Pardon me?
It'll be by the road itself, the structure as it goes up.
Well, the commercial is by that area. I've got pictures I could show you if you'd like.
No, it's
but
okay.
The commercial is by that structure that goes up. And we've moved the road south far enough that it actually looks pretty darn good, I think. But it meant that our area for our apartments and the commercial that we also had to have along the street just got squished like that. And so we went up another story. We have committed to Chief Spencer that we will, of course, upgrade our sprinkling system from a 13R, which is a residential sprinkler, to a commercial grade sprinkler. Not only that, but to get into the nuts and bolts, we have to sprinkle little closets that otherwise wouldn't have been sprinkled. So we've taken every precaution and gone through the nuts and bolts with the fire chief. I went through the plan with him, distances from the road, turning radii, access points, et cetera, at length a month ago.
So
and have planned accordingly.
do we have I know we've had an issue with accommodating for parking. If we increase the density 20% by going up one more additional floor, is there adequate parking? Are you going down with any parking, any of it under? It's all out in the open.
We've made other accommodations. Robert, is that, do you want to comment on that or? Well, we have met the parking requirements of the planning staff. It's taken a lot of arranging and rearranging and adding stalls and shifting them. But we've got, we have enough parking that we could add, if parking were the controlling animal, we could add 200 more units. But we're not that, forget that I said that. That was bad. That was bad form.
No,
I was just trying to get your attention.
sure, you got it.
Okay. No, we have more parking than we need now. It's taken a real effort. We really have.
Bob,
I
you
have
have a comment?
I've respectively had my hand raised trying to
Go ahead.
fight some of this stuff that you're feeding, if I could.
Go ahead.
I wasn't on council when the first concepts and the first phase was introduced, but it seems like you keep telling me you've been squeezed like a balloon, but yet you've increased the density substantially with less ground.
By going up, yes, we have. We've had to go up.
And so I don't have any sympathy for you as far as increasing the density and going up a story. That don't hold water with me. I still like the project and want to make it work, but I'm having a little bit of heartburn with that high of density. I'm just being candid here.
So
I hate to hear developers cry that they're being squeezed when they're actually increasing density by 20%.
So Bob, when this first came, if I remember right, and I don't know where that 624 came from, because all I remember, there was like 2,500 and nobody wanted that. And so it's since I've started listening to this project, it's actually come down. Now it's come up a little bit because of that new highway that has to be put through, a 5-lane highway. So I don't know where that 600 some odd came from, because it was a lot higher than it. It's come down ever since I've heard of this project. Yeah, and I never heard that.
So I have a couple of questions. So we're using the 15 acres of wetlands as part of what your density is. Do we always do that? Robert?
You can use some of it, and some of it is kind of just open space.
Okay, because I know that we turned down another project because they had a bunch of wetlands, and they couldn't get to their amount of housing units that they wanted. I agree with Bob. I don't think we go higher than four stories. I don't, unless we want to start having sky rises and, you know, those big buildings. I don't like where it's at, for one thing, because it blocks everybody else's view from out at West Mountain. It literally just blocks that view. My problem is how are you planning on getting those people on the freeway? Because that highway is not going to be here for 10 or 20 years. How are we going to get them in?
Sheila,
It's
can you
already
bring, the only way we can answer that question is with a drawing. Let me,
So are you going to put the new overpass over?
we don't need it. It doesn't, we don't care if it's ever
We
built.
have had traffic studies done
Well,
for that
we need
area.
to,
But I go there every day. And
we
I
need a
can
map.
see the traffic.
we need a
And-
map.
And I don't see, if you had another 2,000 people, I don't know how the heck they're gonna get over across the overpass there with one lane. It's not even possible. And I know you guys, I don't know if you guys go there and watch the little kids get off at the condos and the townhomes. The trucks are backed up clear down, 2
Which
miles
ones are you
away.
after?
So why don't you tell me how that's gonna be
Let's
fixed?
go to let me answer with a map. Where are the two things?
Right here. Yeah. Which one do you want?
Okay,
Specific?
Let's go to the top one, the general.
And then can I share screen?
Can I ask a couple of questions while you're pulling that up? I know that it wasn't a huge increase from the last amendment approval for the first amendment density, which was 200 less houses or whatever. So I guess my concern is if we approve, I guess that does show where you're looking at with the 5-story buildings. But I'm fine with the 5-story buildings. I'd just like to keep the lower number if still possible. Is kind of where I'm at, but. So what is between 850 South and that future road?
Okay, let me, I want to try to zoom in here.
So it's all commercial along 850.
I'd like to zoom
Okay.
in. Can you zoom in, Sheila? In order to answer your question, I have to have drawings.
A picture's worth 1,000 words. We understand that.
Yeah.
It's not really letting me zoom in here.
Okay, well, I'll use, how about the cursor? Can we get the cursor to work?
Go to 200%.
Physical pointer?
No.
Oh, this thing. Yeah, oh, well, that's good. Okay, I can use my hands. They always work. Okay, let's see. See what else is here. I appreciate.
That's interesting. You made it go the other. direction.
You can't touch screen.
Okay. Okay, well,
Okay.
then go down here.
File.
How do I scroll down?
Just click on the little box down the right-hand corner. It'll start it. Like
Where, this one?
a little to the left of the
Right.
slider bar.
Right here?
No, what, right there.
Okay.
Okay, I want to go,
Is that better?
well, I want to pick a different image.
Okay, which one?
Well, I can't, you hit them. Put them back so I can find them.
Forward and back will get you to them.
Okay, well, there we go. If we can just go forward and back. Okay, let's go,
Yeah.
there we go. Right here. There is the freeway. Right there. And here's our project. People coming out will come to the roundabout, go here into the freeway. This road has no impact on us whatsoever as far as traffic. Well, that's,
But I think Councilwoman Hyatt's concern is the actual freeway overpass. It's the current bottleneck. Because there's no center turn lane, there's no sidewalks on it.
this is going to be widened eventually.
Well, I know, but what are you gonna do until it gets to that point? You'll widen the road, but the overpass is still only 2 lanes.
Okay, well, you're saying the overpass over the freeway?
Yes. Yeah, it's not.
Okay, well, we,
relevant to your property, but we're worried that the numbers will cause a problem there.
Because there's already
Well-
situations
well,
like,
if,
like the
okay,
buses.
I appreciate your concern, but what we're doing is a minuscule fraction of what's going to happen when this road is built here to the west.
Well, I know, and I'm not even looking at that, because what I'm saying is where you're building, so you've got the little, the condos there and the buses, and almost, I don't know how many kids get off those buses every single day. I have seen 5 times those little kids just, like, they almost get ran over. And
Okay,
people
where
don't
are
stop,
they?
they don't slow
Where are
down.
they? Where are they? I don't know where they are.
Underneath the 200,000 square foot mark. I think that this
Down
is,
here.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's
I-
Bridgestone.
I think this comes back to UDOT's thing that frustrates me so bad that we can take right now, this is probably a C grade. You know, it's still functioning. It's not great, but it's not, there's no delays. This implementation of these houses is going to push this to a D and an F, which is going to force them to
So
fix the
actually, with
overpass.
This project, we are improving the roads right through there. So
Right.
1700 will be widened, 1130 will be widened, 850 is going to be substantially larger. So the
Right.
kids that are getting off now, it's a problem because the roads aren't improved. I mean, you have small roads through there. You just have a small 2-lane road.
Well, they've got the double right there, you know.
Yeah, but it's not where it
doesn't
needs to
start
be, and it'll be
until
back
right
farther.
there.
Yeah, but it
So-
still comes, how do you get them? into
So these will
Payson?
these will be widened to 2 lanes, correct, on each side, Ken? And then you have that roundabout, which helps control the
But
traffic
it's
as
still,
well.
How do you get it over the overpass? This has been a problem I've looked at, and if I didn't come on it every day, I wouldn't think about it. But when I go to turn up, coming along the, what do you call it? The industrial park. When I'm clear back by the steel plant, because everybody's backed up to try and get on. What's it gonna be when you guys add your 2,000 and everybody else adds their 2,000 or whatever it is?
Listen, can I interject real quick?
Right.
Unfortunately, this wonderful developer can't control what UDOT does, and ultimately UDOT is the one that has to say that we need to widen that. And it's the old cliche, if you build it, they'll come. UDOT's not going to do anything to that road until the populations go up on it so bad that they recognize that they've got a problem. And unfortunately, in these kind of developments, there's going to have to be a critical wreck, or somebody has to die, or something has to happen to get UDOT's attention. I mean, we've played heck getting UDOT just to get a stoplight on 800 South, let alone widen that freeway overpass right now. This poor developer can't control what UDOT does. I understand that 100%.
Yeah,
So
and
tell me something, what happens when they go in and start, where are they gonna divert the people?
That's UDOT's problem.
yeah, it's UDOT's problem. Maybe vicariously, it's ours too, but
It's our problem because they're gonna go for the industrial park and come right up Utah Avenue.
but it's as Bob said, it's a,
No, it's
it,
not their fault.
no,
This is what it's
but
been.
it's a problem that will have to be addressed because of what's happening there. And it won't be addressed unless it happens there. I'm not sure, but
UDOT, you mean?
UDOT's very well aware of this
They're-
because they were in conjunction
Yeah.
with the 800 South. They know
But-
that's all there and it's all on their radar at this point in time.
but I really do believe that it will not be addressed unless they have to, and this is the have to. No, we don't either, but we can't control that either.
What, this is going to be a catalyst for that to change because they've told us this is a 4-lane road. And they've said that's a 4-lane road. So if these are 4-lane roads, both areas, at their insistence, the natural consequence, every reason to think that they would continue that 4-lane road over the freeway. But certainly they have no reason to unless something like this happens.
It is on their plan to redo that overpass, but it's not for a while. But that's what I'm saying. This would hasten that to be the case.
This will make it come faster.
So regarding building heights, I want to go to a different drawing. Well,
I'm still back on my original comment. I'm fine with the building height increase, but I don't want to increase the number of units.
And I'm fine with the building height and increasing units because of that road that had to come through and they're donating land to MTech. We get a lot of people we give variances to and they don't give anything back to the city. They put these 4-story buildings and there's nothing. We're getting, they have to put this road, have this road dedicated and they're giving 13 acres of land, which is not cheap land. So
we've been asked, what are we giving back to the city? There's a PID, which includes a huge sewer line. How much does that cost, Sheila?
It wasn't cheap.
It's over 3 million for the sewer.
What's the total?
Could you make it bigger, please?
Total PID is about 24.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. I want to talk about what we're contributing, but the PID is part of that.
Right, it's about 24 million.
24 million that's being paid by this property and other
And it's
surrounding
not
people.
just sewer, it's the water.
There's
it's
a new water well that's been drilled right there.
Yeah.
Which will serve 10,000 people according to Hanson Allen Luce, 10,000 new homes. Earlier in this meeting, I heard discussions about how are we going to provide sewer and water to the people down here? Well, part of it is what we're doing with this project is going to provide sewer and water.
So Travis, I guess my question is for you. Does this increase in density? Is it, I mean, your sewer line's already in, you started to put it in. Would it have changed the size of it to increase it? Because I mean, that's in and, okay.
For that, Hanson Allen Luce is their contractor, their engineers. I have an email from them stating that this increase in density isn't going to change the size of the sewer for us, for our project, or anytime down the road for what we're doing.
So it's we upsized it when you put it in, correct? We paid for the upsizing, or did they just put in what they needed?
We put it in. Yeah.
Oh, well, we can't complain about then if it'll fit.
So, there's been tremendous contributions to the city. We've got 5 miles of trails, sidewalks, et cetera. That's far more than would be normal. So between the sewer contribution, the 10,000 homes in the south area, and that sewer line, by the way, it's about this big. By the way, how big is it? 21 inch. It's
Some areas.
there's a lot of contribution way beyond this project that benefits the city. And if this becomes a catalyst for solving that overpass problem, maybe this terrible thing becomes almost indirectly a good thing.
It is something that's scheduled, but it's not scheduled for the near future, but this could move that
They're
up.
not going to do it till they need to.
That's right.
And this helps them need to.
Yep.
But I don't want it to jump ahead of the Main Street project either.
No.
No, I agree with
We'll
that.
fight that battle.
We'll do them both at the same time. How's that, Bob?
And
I like that, Brian.
Yeah.
I like
as I
that.
look at this, I mean, I don't know, my engineer brain kicks in. Let's go ahead and make the overpass one direction. Put a stoplight on each side of it. You come up to it, you're eastbound, you go first, changes. That's how the people movers essentially work. They're just a wider overpass, right? I've often wondered why we don't do that on Main Street underneath.
There again, we don't have that capability.
No, it wouldn't back it up, but it just slow it down.
Okay.
I don't know if I've addressed your question. My intent was to do so.
Did that
I-
address your concerns?
I believe we've kicked it around quite a little bit.
I want to emphasize one thing is that one of the things I think is really critical to remember is, I want to go back to the beginning. How do I do this? Sheila, can you help me with?
Just there.
I did it. Not working for you either.
No.
Okay.
You could probably just explain it to us real quick. I think we're
to the point where we can
Okay.
vote on it.
I'll do it in words. You go to 1130 South, 1700 West, there's a bunch of new townhomes there.
Right.
2 stories. We've designed our units across the street, our fourplexes, to be 2 stories. Along 1700 West, condos are there. They've been there for quite a few years. They're 3 stories.
There you go.
Oh, okay, let's,
Just hit this.
I just want to go back here. There we go.
Which one are you after?
That, well,
Yeah.
sorry. Gotta share the screen again.
Come on, Jerry, just.
Okay.
Is that the map?
No, that is not the map I want.
Just point where the 5-story buildings will be. That's what we really want to do.
and we realize that you're matching to other areas. So,
yeah.
Okay, we're matching those areas.
Right.
Go back where it was. There, just stop there. Let's not move it because we can't control it. Up here are 5-story buildings. They're not near any existing homes. We have existing homes down here, existing 2-story townhomes there. We're 2 stories. The condos are 3 stories. We're 3 stories. Near this commercial area up here, we're 4 stories. As we get closer to the tracks, we go to 4 and 5 stories. So the tallest buildings are not next to any existing homes. They're near railroad tracks. This road's going to be 25, 30 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So when you talk about a 5-story building, it's going to be about 2 stories above this road. So it's a scale that's hard to comprehend given this condition of the area now. But when you have a road that's so high, you can have a train go underneath it. This 5-story building here and here, which is close to the tracks, is not going to be the kind of overpowering building that it would be if it were in an otherwise other part of the city.
So west of the wetlands, what are you looking at?
Right here,
Yes.
mostly single-family detached units, which I can show you if I could get Stan's.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay. We'll take your word for it.
Hey,
So I just have a
got it
quick-
to work. I got it to work.
okay, I have a quick comment.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's what's west of the wetlands.
Okay.
2 stories, single family detached, some are attached, most are detached. We try to avoid garage doors against the street. We want a beautiful community. Notice these garage doors are on the side. We could have just done what's normal, and that's have them all face the street, and you have garage door after garage door after garage door. We didn't want that. We wanted a beautiful community with windows and entries and windows and entries, not garage doors. So you ask what's west of the wetlands? Single family homes. It's going to be that.
Okay, let's have a quick comment real quick. I'd like to thank planning planning and zoning for their hard work on this. This is a long project and especially with the new interchange or new road have to be put in there. And the developers for working with planning and zoning. I know it's been tough for you guys, been working on this for years, so I appreciate it. And I know that you had to put a lot more money into it. And I know the planning commission did a lot of work on this too. They actually came back to them twice and they had a work session. So there's been a lot of work and I know that the planning commissions recommend that we go ahead with this and it's also the staff has. So from my perspective, I'd like to see it approved as been presented.
Okay. Okay, I think we're to the point where we can go ahead and do a motion on this, starting with number 11. Ordinance amendment to the general plan South Meadows area specific plan regarding Redbridge Villages development. Are we, any other discussion? If not, I can accept a motion on it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amendments to the general plan South Meadows area specific plan regarding Redbridge Villages development.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Council Christensen.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Carter.
Yes.
Council Hyatt.
I have a question. Which one of these goes with the 54 foot?
That's the one being voted on right now.
Okay. Nay. Council Prosgaard.
No.
Okay, 3-2, motion carries. Okay, moving on to number 12. Ordinance amendments to Title 19 zoning.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to the Title 19 zoning.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
Good. Okay, we have a motion been seconded, starting with Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Council Hyatt. Council Carter.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
And Council Christensen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 13, preliminary plan and final plat approval for Redbridge Station Super Pad subdivision 800 South, 1700 West.
I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plan and final plat approval for the Redbridge Station Super Pad subdivision at 800 South and 1700 West, and which gives them the opportunity to quickly move this over to that one pad over to MTech.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, have a motion been seconded, voting starting with Council Christensen.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Carter.
Yes.
Council Hyatt. Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Going on to number 14, Redbridge. Ordinance Redbridge number 1 zone change for a portion of the parcel 290120024 from A5-H annexation holding zone to RMF-15 residential multifamily zone.
I'm trying to remember what one that one was.
Oh.
Can Mike show that on the screen?
The single family, oh, okay, the single family over by the wetlands,
By
perfect.
the wetlands.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the Redbridge number 1 zone change for a portion of parcel 291224 from the A5 holding zone to the annexation holding zone to RMF 515 residential multifamily zone.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. The roll call vote starting with Council Prosgaard.
Yes.
Council Hyatt. Council Carter.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
And Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Number 15. Ordinance Redbridge number 2 zone change for portion of a parcel 290120024 from the A-5-H annexation holding zone to S1 special highway service zone.
Just so I understand this, it has to be the S1 so we can put it in the overlays, right? Is that correct? Okay. I make a motion that we approve the ordinance Redbridge number 2 zone change for a portion of parcel 291224 from the A5 holding zone to the S1 special highways zone.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion that's seconded, starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt, Council Proscar.
No.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go to number 16, a Redbridge station overlay request for use of the MU-1 mixed use overlay for 105 acres at 800 South, 1700 West.
I'll make a motion to approve the Redbridge station overlay from the MU1 overlay to 100 for 105 acres at 800 South and 1700 West.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote. Council Proscar,
No.
Council Hyatt. No. Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
Yes.
and Council Christensen.
Well, I have a question about this. Is this the one that changes the frontage from 150 to 80 feet?
Mike?
Yes.
No.
This is just the overlays.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 3-2. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mike, you're still up. Number 17, preliminary plan approval of the villages at Arrowhead Park, Plat M, Phase 13 on parcels 30-010-0060 for 32 multifamily units. Mike?
So you can see from the Utah County parcel map, this is the area in question. There's the plat of it. This is a conceptual design of what the unit would look like. So multifamily housing development within villages at Arrowhead Park, Plat M or Phase 13, 32 one-bedroom units, one single building that's 4 stories. So the considerations for approval, it fits with the master plan for villages at Arrowhead Park. Planning Commission held their public hearing on the 13th of April for this. Recommended approval, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of the preliminary plat pending any red lines from staff. Staff recommends the approval of this preliminary plat as presented with the condition that required covered parking be added and that the applicant continue to work with staff regarding pending red lines.
Okay, any council discussion on this item?
How much covered parking are you recommending, Mike? One per unit?
Yes.
Okay.
How does this meet Payson's needs? I don't see a need for 1-bedroom apartments out there. Am I mistaken? Do I planning, zoning?
Me too.
I mean, MTech has at least college students going out there. This is. Anybody care to elaborate?
They're transitional apartments. It's just part of the product that he's presented to us.
Okay.
All along, but they're a transitional unit, short term. You can say there'll be ownership, but I think we had this discussion a long time ago that there would be investors that buy these and rent them, and he assured us that they would be taken care of under the HOA, the CC&Rs, whatever. But there again, you have something that I just don't like, but it's a necessary evil. Don't know how else to say it.
The thing that gets me concerned about this is I had a friend that lived in Springville and they bought a condo and everybody bought a condo and then they all moved out and all of a sudden it ended up with a lot of rentals in the area and made it impossible for them to sell it because nobody could buy it. You had to pay cash for them. Banks wouldn't lend on them because there was a higher percentage of rentals in the area. Is this going to force that rental number in this HOA organization to drive that number up that would cause that to be difficult for the other homes that are around is kind of my concern.
Yeah, what,
So it's its
I
own
think,
individual
I
unit.
think what,
Yeah, the applicant is here and could probably answer these questions really well.
yeah, I can answer what Brett's talking to a little bit. You have to have have certain government lending. You have to have certain amount that are not rentals, and they have to apply for that every year. So if it drops below 50%, then you can't go get certain government loans. You can get some others, but there's certain ones you can't get. So.
And this isn't going to apply there because this isn't part of that. I mean,
well, it
is
could,
geographic location, or how do they determine that based upon government?
Might be the whole unit.
Come on up and enlighten us a bit.
And while you're coming up, is this gonna be qualified as low income housing because one unit's very small? Is it gonna be priced that way? Because we do need some low income housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name's Dave Gardner. I'm a partner in the development. There's been originally, when we planned this out, these units were going to be condominiumized. With the way the economy is and the way the financing is, these are going to be rentals. So, and we clarified that before the planning commission, and we also clarified that in a memo to, well, it was to Jill, which we may have not sent it to the right person, but that was a change. And so these units are a little over 600 square feet, 1-bedroom units. They'll be in actually they'll, in all probability, be owned by the developer.
In all probability, or yes, it will be owned by one individual?
Well, the developer isn't one individual.
Ooh, excuse me.
And lots of things could happen, and I hate to guarantee something I don't have complete control over. So that's the plan right now.
But if they aren't condominiumized, it has to be by one owner then, right?
Right. So at this point, we're not asking to condominiumize these.
You could have 32 different
multiple
owners.
owners, but there's still one deed on it. Is essentially how it goes.
No.
Well, yeah.
Council Proscar, did you have a statement?
Yeah, I
Once you
said
start
ultimately,
marketing.
the way they're going to market these and build them is so that there could be 32 different individual owners that rent them.
So I'm Trent Beasley, one of the developers. So the way these will be done is they're going to be platted as a fourplex vertically. And what that'll do is that'll allow our group as the owners to own some of those units, but not be in a direct partnership long-term. So as those are sold, if in the future they're sold off, then they would be sold 4 units at a time under one tax ID number. And if you remember, I think this is an important consideration. From the very beginning of this project, our phase 12 that you recently approved had always been anticipated that those would be rental units. And we let you know that when we transition that into those being townhome units, that we would want to and expect to pick up some rental units somewhere else. And that's why we're doing this the way we're doing it. And yeah, there is a market. It's hard for all of us to understand that, but with the cost of rentals and the cost of acquisition, it's being so astronomical. There's a strong market for this. There's a lot of young couples and single professionals need a place to live. And they love the view.
So is there like covenants that say, hey, there's a certain number of people that can live in these, they're not going to become transient with 60 people living in one of these 1-bedroom apartments kind of thing?
That would be a problem.
It would be a problem, but
so it's important for us, and obviously in this case, we'll have an association that governs this 32 units, and with us being owners, that's important for us because it reflects on the development as a whole, as well as the neighboring units. So something that we intend to keep a close eye on. In addition to that, we do have oversight from the Master Association, which has a fair amount of ability and power and muscle to deal with those issues if they become a problem. Based on where it's at, If that was more urban, we see people more want to pack into those units, but it just doesn't, it's not a logical outcome for this location.
Well, it's not going to be urban very long, meaning it's going to
Things are changing.
fill up around it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the police are the ones that are tasked with the enforcement of it. I don't know. Necessary evil.
Yeah. Is there any way we could go instead of 4 units per owner, 8 units per owner? Is that anything that we could do legislatively, or is that nothing to do with us?
No.
Okay, I can ask, right?
Great. Robert, you were standing there one time. Did you want to say anything to us regarding this? Okay, fine. Just wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted it. Council, we got any more discussion that we need on this item?
There are two parkings.
Yeah, there are gonna be 2 parking places, one covered, one uncovered.
No, not 2 parking spaces.
I know, but if it's a couple, they probably have 2 cars.
Right, but a lot of the units won't be occupied by 2 couples, or yeah, a couple. So you'd have some with 2 people, most with 1.
Are you 32 stalls or is it 46 stalls?
What is our, do you know what our total parking count is?
Yeah, do we have the site plan?
Can we pull up the site plan?
1.7. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought it was 1.7.
I'm fine with the 1.7.
So what happens if there's too much?
Well, it'd take 64 cars to be double everywhere. If you're at 1.75, you're less than that. You're 1 3/4. So every 4th house could only have 1 car and you'd be all right. So like it's 3 bedroom. I think it's fine. I think you'd be okay with that.
Going back to your presentation, Mike, did the planning commission state something, and what is your staff's opinion as well?
The planning commission forwarded a positive recommendation on this project. And likewise, staff has the same positive recommendation, provided that the covered parking is put in
Provided
place.
that change be made.
And that the developer works with the concerns and red lines.
Red lines. Okay, I think we are to that point. I'm ready for a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Arrowhead phase, let's see.
13.
The preliminary plan approval of the villages at Arrowhead Park Plat M, phase 13, that they meet the staff recommendation of 1 covered parking per unit, that they follow through with staff on red lines that may come forward, and that in their development agreement, that there will be a limited number of occupants per unit of no more than 3.
Okay, as that motion has been dictated, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion that's been seconded. The roll call vote starting with council.
Can I make a comment first?
Oh, okay, go.
The only thing I have a hard time with, Bob, is the 3, maybe 4 is okay, but if they have a couple little kids, that's gonna be say you can only, and maybe the attorney's got to get in here too, so.
Generally, we will not, by state law, require how many people can actually be in there in each unit. State law has changed as far as the definition of what a family means because of recent national trends. Therefore, we do not, as a city, regulate how many people can be in any given home or unit. That is up to an HOA if there is an HOA that covers it. And according to the applicant, the master HOA and the secondary HOA will be in charge of controlling who's in and who's out. Obviously, if they have people that are subletting and stuff, you can control that using a lease. You can require that no subletting occur without knowledge of the owner. Or in circumstances where we're just talking a bunch of people move in. They are officially, if it's an owner has control over it, they can request trespassing on those individuals that are not on the lease. So there are things that the HOA can do to control that, but not, or the owner, but not generally the city. We would not get involved in those kind of things.
Fine, then I'll change my motion.
That was my,
I strike that as no more than 3, but I add that there will be no more than 8 individual owners for the complex.
would you want to include that, there's be some control by the owner, that there cannot be any subleasing? Is that what I heard, that there was a possibility that,
Yes.
the owner could restrict that?
Yes.
Okay.
You're adding that, Bob?
Did you want to add that stipulation?
Yes.
Bob? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And no subleasing.
Did we do that?
No.
I didn't think we could.
Again, we're getting into an area where we
Try
can't
again, Bob.
control it.
Okay. Well,
Jason, I want you to earn your money for once.
you mentioned,
Maybe in planning is recommending, if you need to remand this back, we can work through some of these issues. However, I would just stress that we do not want to get into controlling who rents or what,
Okay.
who does what. Even controlling how many owners are in this. That's up to them. If they decide to sell a building, that's up to them as who they sell it to. We do not control that. And we will be involved in a lot of litigation if we try to do that.
I think to sell it to more than 8 people, you would have to subdivide a building into 2, because as it is right now, those will be actual parcel numbers recorded with the tax ID number.
That was their suggestion. I'm just.
Yeah,
It is their suggestion. And in your motion, just leave that out, let them handle that. Okay, that's my recommendation.
Bob, would you like to modify it to conform to that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and make another motion if you'd like, Bob.
So I have a question. We did have a second on the very first one. Do we need to vote on that? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let me try this again.
Please.
I would make a motion that we approve the preliminary plan of the Villages at Arrowhead Park, Plat M, Phase 13, for the 32 multifamily units, with staff recommendation and planning and zoning recommendation of 1 covered parking per unit. And that upon their commitment to the city, it be included that there will be 8 parcel owners of the project. No more than.
Is that legal?
Again, we're getting into this area that's very.
Is it legal?
No.
No.
It's not legal?
Sounds like we need to lop that 8 requirement off.
Part off, Bob.
That, I said per their recommendation. They're the one that said it.
Okay,
It is what they said.
okay. We have a motion and it's been seconded. Starting with Council Christensen.
Oh, thanks. Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Mine, nay, just because I don't want to get in litigation.
Oh,
Council Carter.
yes.
Council Hyatt.
Yes.
And Council Proscard.
In the name of trying to be a good neighbor to everybody else, yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
So Mayor, I need to make a clarification. I forgot to mention this, but when we're going on Redbridge, I am actually a trustee of MTech, so I wanted to change my vote or anything, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
Well, all that's really required is that you had to disclose that, so thank you. Okay, Mike, one last one.
Oh, man, I want the other.
That's not for me.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I just assumed.
I think he's a winner.
Is this number 18?
It does.
It does say Mike.
I know.
Yes, it does.
We're gonna have to cut somebody's pay.
That's okay. Okay, Dave.
Mayor and council, last but not least. You have a consulting agreement in front of you. We are proposing that Spring Valley Development LLC take over the help assist with the economic development efforts of the city. Spring Valley Development LLC is Councilman Hewlett. He's desires to do this. We've explained to him, and I think we've talked to the council that if the council approves this agreement, he would need to resign from the council. And then we would start the process of advertising and having the council pick a council replacement for the remainder of his term, which is approximately a year and a half. And then they would have to run again, like similar to what we did with Council Member Hewlett. I mean, with Welton, yeah, when Bob was appointed. So the agreements here, if the council's okay to approve that agreement, we would then ask Brian to give us a letter of resignation. It could be pushed out the effective date until the time you guys interview for the new person.
So he would serve until we get a new one.
He
in his
could,
place.
or he could give a specific time. He does, legally, he can participate in interviews for the new person, or he can get off at a certain date, and then the remaining council would have to do the interviews and pick the replacement. So that's what's in front of you. It's just as a personal matter, I think Brian and also the mayor has done some great things economic development wise that we've had. Paris RV is now here, that CMP shooting range that's coming is going to be another great thing. And there's a lot of good things happening. We'd work the tar out of him under this agreement. But if any of you have any comments or you want to discuss it, that's what's before you at this time.
I would venture a guess that we've already discussed it, and unless there is any discussion, I'm ready to take that. But other than that, I'm ready for a motion.
I would discuss just this. I am 100% in support of Brian and this endeavor. I absolutely hate to lose him off council. He's very, very valuable to the citizens of Payson. I've come to rely on him. With that said, I'm concerned that if he remains on council and starts this new endeavor, or perceived to be the new endeavor, I'm just going by the discussion that we had at League of Cities and Towns. I don't want there to be any, to the citizenry and to everybody, any dark shadow on this at all. And so I would ask that resignation be effective when Brian takes this job on to the, meaning when we sign this agreement. Just to protect the good name of Brian and the good name of the mayor and the council.
Yeah, we won't have this agreement become effective until he's off the council.
Okay.
Okay.
And that could be part of your motion if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay, sounds like we've got some advice for a motion. If anyone would like to put that into words, would entertain it.
I'll make the motion that we approve the resolution agreement with Spring Valley Development regarding economic development as constituted in the pages that are before us.
I'll second.
Well, we got 2 seconds.
Oh,
Okay.
I stopped. You got me.
I don't, you tied. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewlett,
I recuse myself.
I figured, Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
and Council Proscard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. It's been a long night and I appreciate staff and council's hard work and applicants as well.
I second it.
I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Done.
Okay, who seconded it? Well, I want to formalize.
I move that we adjourn and go home.
I'll second it.
You say aye.
I thought we'd be here.